All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and look at the review Chapter 2 quest. And this is over sections 2.1 and 2.3 and 2.4. And hopefully my little pen here will write. I'm sure it will. Again, that's going to be 2.1, 2.3, and 2.4. And let's get a little bit better pen here. There we go. So our first question is going to be, what is the slope of the line that passes through the given points? Well, anytime you're given 2 points, find the slope. And this is exactly what they're asking. So I'm going to have 12 minus 8 over 10 minus 9. Whoops. Eraser here. 10 minus 9. And that's going to be 4 over 1. And that's going to be D. So let's move on. Next question, what is the equation in slope-intercept form? What are the slope and y-intercept? Well, let's go ahead and get to some slope-intercept form, which means solve for y. So let's get the 10x over here. And divide everything by -6. This is going to simplify to -5/3. And -6 and 6, that's going to become -1. So our answer should be something with a -5/3 and 1. Better put that x in there, Bova. All right. So let's see. There's a -5/3, positive, positive. There's a negative. So let's just look at these two. Both of them have -5/3. This one has a -1. A is going to be our answer. Our y-intercept is -5/3. Excuse me. Our slope is -5/3, and our y-intercept is -1. Let's take a look at this next one here. We have to go ahead and find the ordered pairs for the relation. Not sure if it's a function, but you can tell pretty quick from a vertical line test that yes, it's actually going to be a function. So let's find these coordinates. We have several options here. I think it might be easier if we just went ahead and looked at the graph. This is going to be a 2 right here. This is going to be a -2 right here. So let's start thinking about when we can go ahead and find out some of these coordinates. We've got one that is relatively close here to 2. So I'm thinking maybe that's going to be like a 1 point, oh, I don't know, 1.5 or something like that. That's the 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. This is halfway in between 1 and 2. So maybe about a 1.5. And sure enough, there are some 1.5s here in the category. So let's take a look at this one. This is going to be -3 and 5. Well, that one checks out. This one is going to be -2 and 4. Let's see, -2 and 4. None of those check out, so let's go ahead and check the other ones. We've got looking for -3, 5. This one is a -3, 5. And the other one is looking for a -2, 4. Maybe they're looking at -1.54. Yeah, because that's just halfway. That's right, it's not on that exact dot. So let's go ahead and use D as our answer here, because both of these did check out. Next one, what is the equation slope-intercept form? Well, remember, our slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So let's see. There's my m, and there is my b. This should be easy. Y equals m x plus -11. Next one. What are the equation of the line? Write an equation of the line in point slope form. that passes through the two given points. Point slope, as you recall, is y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. And here we go. We've got 2 points. Automatically we find the slope. Negative 6 minus 3. And then 13 minus negative 5. That's going to be negative 9 up top. And then this becomes addition. It's going to be 18. And that's going to simplify to negative 9/18, otherwise known as 1/2. That's our slope. Now we get to use one of these points. How about negative 5 3? Y minus my y value, because we're using this point. And we're going to plug in our slope, negative 1/2. And that's going to be x minus negative 5, otherwise known as x plus 5. And there is your equation that's in point slope form that passes through these 2 points. Next one, it says for each function, what is the output of the given input? Well, remember, this is just function notation here. That's why they gave you a funky looking f. It's just the notation. Function notation. This is not f times x. This is how we write it. So we're going to write this funny looking f, plug in a 3, and this says when I plug 3 into this function, it's going to look like this. 2 times my x value plus 5. So when I take this function and I plug in 3, it's going to look like this. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 5. And again, when I plug in to this function 3, it's going to look like 11. This is true function notation. Next one. What are the intercepts of the equation? Remember, we have an x-intercept and a y-intercept. So what I'm going to need to do is to go ahead and plug in 0 for x to find the y-intercept. Whoops, let's go ahead and erase some of that. Let's start that over again. Plug in 0 for x to find the y-intercept. And then you're going to have y divided by negative 2, because this is going to cancel out the 0. Y is going to equal 4. Same thing over here, you're going to find the x-intercept by plugging in 0 for y. And then you're going to have to go ahead and solve for 2x equals negative 8. And that's going to be x equals negative 4. Now the coordinates, be careful here, the coordinates for this x-intercept is real simple. Negative 4, and we plugged in 0 for y. Here, your coordinate is going to be 0. We plugged in 0 for x, y. Please be careful with that. Next one. What is the equation of the line in standard form? Remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. And that really means getting x and y on one side, constants on the other. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5/3 from both sides. And then get rid of that fraction, because this says use integer coefficients, which means positive and negative whole numbers. So what number can I multiply here to get rid of this fraction? I can multiply it by the denominator, 3, and I'm going to multiply that by everything, 3 over 1, or 3. This is going to be negative 15 over here. The 3 and this 3 are going to cancel out. So I'm going to have negative 5x. And 3 times 4 is going to be 12. And that is our equation that is in standard form. Put my y there, don't forget that. Oh, I think I made a boo-boo, didn't I? That should be just 3y. Thanks for catching that, Maria. She was sitting here saying, wait a minute, that is not right, Daddy. You've got to change that. You don't know how to read your own handwriting. Smart kid. All right. So I think we did this one in class, and we said that we really don't want these years. What we want are the beginning time and the ending time. So the beginning time we said was 0, and it went up 2 years every, it went up every 2 years as far as taking the calculation of what the milk prices were. So these were the things we were working with, and we said we've already got an instant coordinate here, which is fantastic. We go ahead and plug in 0 years, it's going to spit out 2.61. If we plug in 10, we're going to have 3.79. And I think when we did this in class, we found out that we're first going to subtract these coordinates to find the slope, because that's what you automatically do when you get 2 points. So 3.79 minus 2.61, I think, was 1.18, and 10 minus 0 is 10. That was our slope. And then we said that simplifies to 0.118, which means that every 2 years the milk price goes up 11.8 cents, or almost 12 cents. That's our slope. Now let's go ahead and write a function. It says, what is the equation for a line of best fit? That means we need to probably get this into slope-intercept form. We can do that. Let's use the point 0, 2.61. So I'm going to have y minus my y value equals my slope times x minus my x value, which is 0. So this can be simplified even further. Y equals 0.118x plus 2.61. So our next problem here is to write a perpendicular line to this one through this point. Well, perpendicular means taking the opposite reciprocal of 1/4. So I'm going to have this 1/4, and I'm going to have to transform it into the opposite of 1/4, or 4/1. Now I've got a slope and a point. Plug it into point slope. And they want it in slope-intercept form. In other words, solve for y. Get y by itself. It should be a 7, by the way. Next one, medium home prices. Very similar to the one we did before. We're going to have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and so on. So if you want to, you can go ahead and write your own coordinates and solve it like the last problem. I think we had a different problem on the quest that I handed out to you guys. No worries, you'll be fine. Next one here, special t-shirt, $35 each plus a one-time handling fee of $3.25. Well, if it's 35 each, so it's going to be 35 times each t-shirt plus the one-time fee of 3.25. And that is our function. Now it says evaluate 5 t-shirts. Well, real simple. Since this is our function of t, we're going to go ahead and plug in 5 here. So the function, when we plug in 5, is going to look like this. So if you go ahead and multiply this out, here we go, 175 plus 325 for a total of 178.25. And last one is making a mapping diagram of this relation. I've gone ahead and loaded up all the x values and the y values. And remember that x means domain and y means range. And it's a simple one-to-one relationship for all these, therefore it's a function. Thanks everybody, and good luck on your quest on during next week on Tuesday. Thanks.